Hey everyone, good evening and welcome to Old Iron Garage. Thank you for tuning in. So tonight on the bench I am going to continue working on the McCulloch Model 152 chainsaw. More specifically, I'm going to be working on the carburetor. So let's go ahead and dive into that. So here we have the carburetor from the McCulloch 152. As you can see here, it's an HL series model 63D. Now, earlier this year, I went, when I got the saw, and I took this carburetor apart, I cleaned it really well, and it was nice and clean inside. And I inspected like the gaskets and the diaphragm, and the diaphragm was kind of stiff, but I didn't have a carb kit for it, did not have a rebuild kit for it, so I put it back in and tried to see if I can get it to work, and, obviously couldn't get it to work because that diaphragm is forever old. So I went online and looked for a rebuild kit for an HL63D Tillotson carb. Could not find one that said 63D, but I did find a carb kit for a Tillotson HL series carburetor. So I bought that, and it seems like the diaphragm will work. I didn't really look at the rest of the parts. Everything else in the carb really seemed to be in pretty great shape, so I may only need the diaphragm, but I'm going to look through here, and when I'm putting it back together, and whatever I can use, I will use. Whatever I can't, I guess I won't. This is a cheaper kit. It says made in Brazil, so, it is what it is. I couldn't find the kit that said that it was for the 63D, so I went with a cheaper kit because I didn't know exactly how much of it I could use anyways. So I will be, in the future, on the lookout for a good quality carb rebuild kit specifically for this carburetor. Alright guys, let's go ahead and dive into this. I'm going to start taking it apart here in a second. Make sure to wipe my screwdriver clean of any dirt. I went ahead and sprayed off the outside was already nice and clean for the most part. It had a little dirt on it and debris from blowing off the chainsaw earlier. So I just went ahead and sprayed off the outside with brake clean just to kind of remove any debris that was on there. I don't want to introduce any little bits of dirt to the inside of the carburetor. Come on. Now I do have a gallon over here of the stuff that I like to soak carburetors in to clean them, but it's called Berryman Chem Dip Carburetor Parts Cleaner. Stuff works great, but I don't know if I will be soaking this in there or not. If I do, it'll probably only be for about an hour, because like I said, I did have this carburetor apart earlier this year and cleaned it out really well. So I'm going to open it up and then make my decision. I may end up just soaking it regardless, just to make sure anything that is plugging any ports gets cleaned out. Now, as I take this apart, I am going to lay things down in a fashion that I can kind of remember how they go back together. Yeah, there is some debris in here My guess is it's probably from the diaphragm kind of deteriorating. I don't know if you can see. We're looking right here. There's just a little fine little black particles around that hole in the center, and then there's some down in that hole in the center. So my guess is that is probably from the diaphragm deteriorating. So I'm going to carefully peel off this diaphragm. I'm going to hold it up to the light and see if I can see light through it. If I can, then yeah, it's kind of deteriorating. A little bit. Do you hear that? I don't know if you can hear that or not. The diaphragm, this part is supposed to, with pulse from the engine, is supposed to move. Do you hear that? That diaphragm is rock hard there. So that diaphragm is indeed no good. Absolutely rock hard. I do need to, however, keep track of the order that these parts went in, so I know how it goes back together. Need to look here. Yeah, it went like that. Trying to get this gasket here off without tearing it. Not that I'm planning on reusing it. If I don't have to, I won't. But I will. I'd like to be able to reuse it if I don't have this exact gasket in the kit. But another reason I'm trying to not tear it is I'd like to have it pull off nice and clean so that it doesn't leave anything behind for me to have to scrape off. And here, there's another little chunk of something. Right, we're looking right here. Oh. You see it on there? Yeah. I don't know what that is. It's a chunk of something. And here's like another diaphragm, basically, which also has, I don't know if you look on that metal plate in the middle, we're looking at toward the top of it, there's some fine black debris, and this diaphragm is also pretty hard. So this diaphragm is also no good. No, same thing here. I'm going to try to get this gasket off in one piece, one nice clean pull. I guess I could leave it on and reuse it, but I'd like to get it off. This thing is really stuck on. There, it's starting to come now. Just going to gently work my way around, try to get it off without tearing it. Slow and steady wins the race here when you're trying to peel a gasket in one piece. I'm going to start working my way around the other side. Here it comes, slowly but surely. There we go, now we're making some progress. There we go. One piece. Pulled off clean. The needle and seat are still in there at the time being. Where is the... oh. Well, I guess in order for me to... test the needle and seat, this all has to be back together. So I'm going to put it back together and just kind of pinch it together. With my hands and test the needle and seat. I guess I should have done that before I tore it apart. It's not a big deal. Okay, good. Good. I'm going to peel this back apart like I did the first time. Yeah, there is just kind of that fine black debris kind of throughout here. So this definitely needs to be cleaned. The only thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to take out the Welch plug. There's a Welch plug. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to try to leave the needle and seat alone as well in hopes that that is good, because I don't know if the needle and seat that I got in this kit is identical or not. And even if it is, you know, this kit, it's made in Brazil. It's not OEM. It's not OEM Tillotson kit. So I don't really know the quality of it. So I would like to just not mess with the needle and seat. Ideally, I would like to just replace maybe the diaphragms and the gaskets and leave the rest alone. We will see how that goes. I need to take this off down here too. Let's cover on the bottom. There is a cork seal in here, I think. I think there is. Easy, easy, easy. Yeah, it's like a cork seal in here on this like little filter. I don't really know what you call that type of filter. It's like a bunch of bronze BBs all pressed together. I don't really know exactly what you call those. But yeah, there is a little cork seal there around it. Let's see if this one matches up. Yep, that one matches up nicely. Good. So I won't have to reuse that cork seal. Look at all that debris that was hiding behind that filter and seal. That is definitely going to have to get cleaned. Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else here I want to take out. The high and low speed jets, I'm going to take those out. Yeah, those are kind of dirty. I really don't want to take out the needle and seat, but I'm going to take the needle out. Ooh, jeez. There's a spring, tiny little spring in here. That I'm not going to put in the cleaner. I'm just going to put it in that bowl so I don't lose it. I'm going to take out the seat. I'm just going to take a look and see if this needle and seat kind of match up to what I have here. Size bigger. It's dirty inside that socket. I'm gonna clean it out. So I don't introduce any additional dirt in this carburetor. Oh! I cannot get down in there. My socket will not fit down in the hole to get the seat out, so I may not be taking the seat out after all. I'm going to see if I have another socket that'll fit. But one thing I'm not going to do is grind down my sockets. Okay, that one's too big to fit down in there. This one will almost fit down in there. That's probably the size I need. This one's going to be too small. Yeah. Too small. The only other thing I can do is check and see if I have a metric socket that'll squeeze down in there. That'll fit it well enough to get it out. But the problem you run into there is you run into the risk of rounding off yeah, I don't have one. None of my sockets will get down in there. So I guess I am not going to be taking that out. But yeah, if you use a metric socket on a standard piece of hardware or vice versa, you run the risk of rounding it off. So Well, so that I'm just going to be leaving that in there. I mean, it looks clean enough, but yeah, it would have been good to take it out, but can't get it out. I'm not going to, damage anything trying. So now I'm going to compare the needle and seat, or the needle anyway, and the needles are not identical. The needles are slightly different from each other. They might be able to interchange and work, but we are going to leave well enough alone, and we are going to clean what we have and use what we have as far as the needle and seat goes. Alrighty, well, let's I'm just going to spray out some ports with some carb clean, and then we're going to get this thing into a bath. We're going to get this thing into the Berryman's Chem Dip and give it a bath. I'm going to say for about an hour, at least an hour. Probably not much more than an hour. Alrighty. Ooh, that's cold stuff. Ooh, my hands are cold. Ooh. This stuff kind of stinks, but this is the best stuff I have found for cleaning carburetors, period. As far as like soaking it in something, now I'm not comparing this to an ultrasonic cleaner, that's a bit different. I'm talking about as far as just soaking it in something. No heat, no agitation, nothing. Just soaking. This is the best stuff I've found. Hands down. Oh! Surprise! I still have some parts in here from who knows when. Looking at them, I can tell what they go to, though, so I'm going to get those out of there and put those away. Those go to an old Tecumseh lawnmower engine that I started to work on. It's kind of a basket case. I doubt the engine's any good, but I figured I'd clean and rebuild the carb and give it a try. Go through the ignition system, make sure it has spark, give it a go, see what it does. Alrighty. You know what? I'll set this on there. I'm going to put this in there. I'll put these adjustment needles in. Put that little doodad in there. I'm going to throw all these parts in there. And back in it goes. And I'm going to cut the video. Set a timer for an hour. clean my hands off before I touch my phone. Clean up the stuff that dripped. Alright, y'all. I'm going to set my timer on my phone for an hour, and I will bring you back when I go to pull that out. Or, you know what, I might actually bring you back after I pull it out and go wash it off. After it comes out of there, it has to be cleaned in like a hot, soapy water to get that stuff off. If you just try to use carb cleaner, it just kind of gets sticky. I don't know how to describe it. But anyways, I'll bring you guys back later. Alright everyone, I'm back. I got the carburetor and parts out of the carb cleaning solution. As you can see, it's nice and clean. The metal's nice and bright, like freshly cast metal. It's all nice and clean under here. I'm going to go through and clean little bits of old gasket off. And I've got some Q-tips. I'm going to go down there and make sure the needle seat's nice and clean. But there's that, and then everything needs to be blown out with carb cleaner. Now, we're going to turn our attention to over here. Here, this first row is what came out of the carburetor. The second row is what came in the kit. So, these match up, so I can use that gasket back there. These mostly match up. It's just the little metal plate. That one has holes in it. This one doesn't. Other than that, it matches up, so I can use that diaphragm. This gasket and that gasket do not exactly match up. This weird shaped hole here and this weird shaped hole here do not exist on this gasket. So I'll have to compare that to the plates that it goes between to see if I can use that or not. So I don't know if I can or not. This is where it gets a little weird. This is the old gasket. Yeah, it's rock hard there. No good. This. I mean, I've seen this material in carb kits before. I've never received a carb kit that I had to use that had this in it. This matches up perfectly to that diaphragm. So I went and did some searching online, and I looked up the actual Tillotson brand carb kit, and it has this same material for this same piece. So I guess that's okay to use, as long as everything matches up, the holes and whatnot. And then, as we checked earlier, that matches that, so that's fine. Anyways, I'm going to get you guys perched up on the wall and the camera holder, and we'll go from there. Alright, so the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the carburetor body. We'll take some Q-tips, and we'll put some carb cleaner on here. We're going to go down and we're going to clean that seat. Oh, geez. I don't know if I can get this Q-tip down in there. I have to pull some cotton off of here. We'll try it again. I'm going to go down and clean that needle seat. You know, it came out looking pretty clean, really. I'm going to do it one more time, but I mean, really, that's pretty clean. It came out looking just a very slight gray. I don't know if you can see that on camera. It didn't really come out dirty. I would not call that dirty. We're going to do it one more time. Well, if we can get this one down in there. Came out pretty clean. I'm going to call that good, but I am going to check to make sure I don't have any fibers, any cotton fibers down in there. Looks good. All right, so we're going to blow this piece out. With some carb cleaner. Just any little hole and port I can find. Why does that have a sweet taste to it? That's strange. I'm going to kind of scrub off some of this old gasket material, just the tiny little bits here and there that stayed behind. Just scrub it right off with my thumbnail. And hose her down. I'm going to call that clean, except for that. Now I'm going to do the same thing here. Let's see. Is there any small ports here that I need to worry about? Doesn't really look like it, just some that are straight through. I'm just going to give it a, yeah, something like that. Any ports here? There's one. There's one. There's one. Other than that, I'm just going to give it a little spray down. This, there's no fuel that touches this, so this doesn't matter as much, but I'm going to give it a little spray. It's a little filter thing. Spray some carb cleaner through that. Set that over here. Now, I'm going to find me some steel wool. Got a brand new piece here right out of the bag, so I know it's nice and clean. Hold on, I want to see something here. All right, yeah, that's good. And I'm just going to kind of give these pieces a little polish and spray them off. Especially these adjustment needles for the high and low jets. Give it a little spray. Make sure it's clean. Repeat the same process with this one. Nice and clean. And the last piece that's going to get that treatment is the needle. Give it a little inspection. A little spray. And then there's the lever for the needle. Set that up there to dry off. Alright. As far as I'm concerned, we can start reassembling. So, alright. So first, we're going to go in reverse order of how it came off. First goes this gasket, which needs to be flipped over. There we go. Looks like that. Then we have this diaphragm. Which goes just like this. Then we have this plate here, which goes in this direction. Oh, I need to, before I put that on, I need to look. See, because we have these two gaskets here that don't exactly match up. So I need to take a look and see. See, this goes on here like that. See, in that other one, this hole here are not open. There's no port in that hole. That one right there. No port in there, so as far as I'm concerned, that hole does not matter. It might. I don't know. I guess if we put it back together and it doesn't run right, then I guess I know. There is a port here, though. So let's see what that matches up with. So it goes on there like that. And that matches up to... There's a cutout there, but there's no port in there. So I guess as far as I'm concerned, that does not matter either, that hole. We're going to try it. So, alright. Yeah, so this goes on here. Like so. And then this gasket. And then this, I guess we'll call it a diaphragm. I don't know. Yeah, that goes right like that. Then we have this cover. Yeah, goes this way. So now at this point we can start putting, oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. None of this is going to work without, you know what, it's late, I'm tired. But yeah, none of this at all is going to work without that needle. Come on now. So I guess that was just practice. Drop the needle down in. Now we have the lever, which will perch on top of the spring, like so. Then we have the pin that goes through and threads in. See if I can get it lined up. Yep, got her lined up. Make sure this screwdriver is nice and clean. I don't want to introduce any dirt to this clean carburetor. Get in there nice and tight. Trying to figure out what hole the fuel goes in through. I guess I'll test it once I have it all screwed together. Alright, now this stuff can go on. There's little alignment pins in here. I want to make sure that those line up. And now this. Everything seems to be lined up. So now we're going to put a couple screws in here, let's say 3 of them. Tighten it down. Let's see if just see what happens when I try to blow some air through that fuel inlet. On a regular 4-cycle carburetor with like a fuel bowl, I know how to test that. But on this one, I'm not quite sure how to test that. Okay, so that moves that diaphragm. I just don't really have a way to blow on that one and that one at the same time. The diaphragm moves, I can tell you that much. I can feel the air going in and out, and I can feel and hear the diaphragm moving. And air flows through here, so I know fuel will flow through there. So that's good. But yeah, I guess we will figure out when the time comes if it runs right or not. Now I need to get the high and low needles in. We're going to run them in all the way for now. Once we're all done, we will bench set those adjustments. Okay, so now we're going to put this little filter doodad in down here, like so. The cork gasket around it, and then we will get this plate put on. And we need to get those other 3 screws into the body of the carburetor to hold those pieces on the bottom, to hold the whole bottom end together. Wait a minute. Okay, no, I'm just going to leave that alone, because I don't know if that seal goes to this screw or not. Alright, that's nice and snug. So now we get these other 3 screws put in. Get them good and tight, but not so tight that they strip out. But we want them tight enough that we know this thing's going to seal up nicely. Go around, check them all, make sure they're all tight. Okay, those are all tight. Carburetor's all together. Alrighty. Well, I'd say that's good for now. Other than we're going to go ahead and bench set this carburetor. And a good rule of thumb for bench setting, like fuel mixture screws on just about any carburetor, is, it might be different for certain specific carburetors, but just a good general rule of thumb is 1.5, like turn it in all the way, and then 1.5 turns out. So that's what we're going to do. It's 1/2, 1, 1 and 1/2. So now we're going to go to the high-speed jet needle, and we're going to go 1/2, 1, 1 and 1/2. Now that might be too much for this carburetor, might be too little. It's hard to say, but that's generally good enough to get it to fire. It's good enough to get it to run, and then you just go from there. So that is done. As far as these pieces here, the old carb kit, I'm going to put them in this bag that the new carb kit came in, and I'm going to save them just in case this carb kit is not working right for this carburetor, for this saw. So I have something to compare. When I get another carb kit in, I have something to compare the parts to. Alright guys, that's a wrap for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you see something I did wrong, like I said, I am not familiar with these carburetors. This is the first of this style carburetor that I've ever worked on. These Tillotson HL carbs. So if you see something I've done wrong, please comment below and tell me. But anyways, yeah, that's a wrap, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have not, please hit that subscribe button, and feel free to share this channel with your friends if you have any that you think might like it, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.